Hello and welcome back to another episode of Muckin Around with Springbridge. I'm Bethan and I'll be your host once again today. This week, as we gear up to celebrate International Women's Day on March the 8th, we're joined by two incredible women in the industry, our very own Ellissa Dunn, Sales Account Manager at Springbridge Direct, and Katie Sheehan, Sales Director at Sheehan Haulage and Plant Hire. Welcome both of you.
Thank you.
Hi.
Hi. Let's dive straight into it. How long have you both been with your companies at the moment?
I've been with Sheehan's now for 12 years.
Wow, that's a long time.
Little while, yes.
4 years this year.
Brilliant. And what got you intrigued into getting into this industry in the start?
It was a bit of a fluke for me. I would say I kind of naturally fell into it. I would say I started knowing nothing, to be honest. So I've just worked my way up from there, So, yeah.
Well, mine is a family-run business. My father, Chris, is MD of the business. My grandfather started the business. So it was never in my thought process that this would be the business that I got into, but I kind of naturally found that I really enjoyed it, sort of started working on Saturdays, did my degree, worked in the business while I did that, and found out that actually I knew more than I realised, I think just from it being a family business. So things get spoke about inadvertently around the dinner table and you pick up quite a lot. So I kind of naturally fell into the role.
Yeah. So you never originally had plans to get into it. Is your degree related to the industry?
I did a business degree, which then sort of gave me a good sort of standing for sort of basic business understanding, but nothing like what diving in at the deep end really gives you.
Yes. Yeah. Hands-on experience.
Yeah, absolutely.
Have you enjoyed your time?
I really have. Yeah. To be fair, I've had different challenges at different points, but in the main, it's been a really positive experience for me.
Yeah. Do you find that there are any challenges being women? It's often considered a slightly male-dominated industry. Do you ever find that there are any challenges being a woman in this industry?
I don't think necessarily there's masses of difference between being a male or a female in the industry, to be honest. Obviously, we were having this conversation earlier. A lot of your client base is predominantly male. I would say the same for me. And I'm lucky enough to work with the people I do work with, and they make my job a lot easier, To be honest, I think day to day, just being able to have a laugh with people is kind of what gets me through it. So I'm quite lucky with the client base I have.
Yeah.
Yeah, 100%. I think it's all about having really good relationships with people and building on them. And I think we all know in our own sort of personal lives, that doesn't matter if you're a man or a woman. If you can find a common ground with somebody and build a relationship, then you can have a great working relationship.
Yeah. And I'm intrigued to know, do you think there are any common misconceptions about women in the industry? Obviously, you two, very pretty well presented women. Do you ever get any misconceptions?
Well, when did I first meet you? October last year?
Yes.
So when I first came to your yard, obviously you gave me a tour, didn't you?
I did.
And we had a little giggle about the fact that nobody quite expects, someone to show up with nails and eyelashes and stow-till cap boots and a hard hat on site. And it's not like there's ever any judgment there. It's just different, I guess, but good different, know? Positive.
Yeah, it's usually a nice sort of icebreaker in the sense of you don't look like my normal meeting.
Yes, unexpected. Okay, ladies, have you had any really defining moments in your career? Any moments where you thought like, I've really achieved something or I've made it?
I mean, I obviously haven't been in this industry as long as you, so I would probably say just my natural progression from where I started at Springbridge. Obviously I came into Springbridge and I knew nothing about the industry, nothing about vehicles or products or even our client base as such and how other businesses operate. For me it was just obviously my progression within Springbridge. So then after becoming a sales associate, I then naturally progressed to internal sales manager. At the time, obviously that was quite scary for me. But we just, got on with it basically, and it worked out really well. And then the beginning of last year, I think about March time, the directors approached me with the offer of becoming a sales account manager, which to be honest for Springbridge was completely different anyways. We didn't have, this department that was looking after our accounts as such. So I think when that offer came up, it was very daunting because I didn't know what I was stepping into because there was nobody already doing it,
Yeah.
So myself and Lauren took on those positions, and I think that for me was probably the defining moment in my career because it's just gone up from there, to be honest.
Yeah. real step out of your comfort zone.
Yeah, definitely. But I've enjoyed it.
Yeah.
I think this role I'm in now has been most suited to me out of the 3 roles I've done at Springbridge.
Yeah.
Nearly 4 years I've been there. So, yeah.
Yeah. And you get that personal connection with your customers. Like you said, it's the people you get to speak to every day. That...
Yeah, I love it.
Yeah.
It's brilliant. I mean, if you can't have a laugh with me, you're probably not the right account for me, to be honest. Can't be serious all the time. But no, I do enjoy it. Yeah.
Yeah, perfect. What about you, Katie?
I was really lucky. About 5 years ago, I was invited by our wash plant producer, CDE, to go and give a talk in America on recycling in the industry.
Wow.
So the UK is quite forward thinking and has a lot of modern techniques, and America's sort of at the beginning of their recycling revolution, if you like.
Yeah.
And yes, it was really daunting and massively outside of my comfort zone. I'd never done anything like that before. But I went with my colleague Tara, both women obviously in the industry, going and speaking to, I don't think there was a single female in the room.
Really?
So yeah, we spoke to over 100 men, and although it was nerve-wracking and daunting, the buzz you got afterwards, it was amazing. Yeah, it felt really good.
Yeah.
And the feedback from the men in the room as well, I wasn't made to feel like a woman. I was made to feel like a peer and a colleague. So that was amazing. Yeah,
Yes.
Really good experience.
Perfect. And then now I assume you have the confidence to be able to do things like that.
I don't know.
Sure.
Yes, it's still very much out of my comfort zone. But yeah, sometimes it's good to put yourself into an uncomfortable position. It's a great learning perspective.
Yes,
so.
definitely. Looking ahead, would there be any changes that you'd like to see in the industry to make it more inclusive?
I think it is quite an inclusive space to now work in. I think when I first started, I can certainly see in the last 10 years there's been huge changes. I think, for instance, in the workplace in general, women's PPE and things like that, massive changes there. And just generally seeing more females in the work environment, from machine operators to drivers to quantity surveyors, sort of across all levels, and in management. So it's really refreshing and just a really welcoming workspace to now be a part of.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah. What about you, Ellissa?
I think it's the same for Springbridge, isn't it? Obviously, diversifying within our staff, probably more than anything. We have a few lady drivers on board with us now. And even the other way around, our office was predominantly women.
It was.
And now we have quite a lot of gentlemen floating around.
Yeah. And I think it's not about gender. It's putting the right people in the right jobs for them. Your gender doesn't come into it. And yeah, I think we're really proud of that at Springbridge, how much we've been able to diversify, especially recently.
And I think it's good, diversifying is bringing fresh ideas in, so it's been helpful.
Both men and women bring different things to the table, but I think that's what makes for a good workplace, having both.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. What, if any, advice would you give to a young woman that was looking to get into the industry or just starting out?
Give it a go.
Yeah, you've just got to hit it. Like, what's the expression?
Hit the ground running.
Hit the ground running. That's it. I think there's a lot to say for fake it till you make it as well. Obviously not on product knowledge and stuff like that, but in terms of confidence is a big thing in this industry. And definitely I think as I've worked my way through sales, not so much anymore, because I feel like I'm at a good place now in my career, but definitely working up to this point, you just have to put yourself in uncomfortable situations and just, quite literally fake it till you make it.
I think, listen, take on as much knowledge and expertise from your peers and senior colleagues as you can. You might not naturally think that you'll have something in common with somebody, but your work is your common ground. So talk to them, feed off their year's worth of expertise.
Yeah, absolutely. So following on from that, how would you see companies encouraging women to join and then stay within the industry?
To be honest, I think the industry is very inclusive anyways. It's probably more of a fear thing for women more than anything.
Yeah.
But I see no reason as to why people wouldn't be eager to join the industry. I personally love it. And I'm sure you do. You've done it for 12 years. So.
Yes, a little while now.
I'd be concerned if not.
Yes, me too. I think it's important to educate children about the industry, recycling, waste management, circular economy, and do it all from a really young age. So our finance director, Tara, she wrote a children's book, and we delivered that locally into primary schools and did reading with the children. And it was at a very basic level, but it was about the importance of one planet, one world, giving back and taking care of what we have.
Yeah, I think that's a brilliant answer. Yeah, educating children from a young age, people that might not have even considered recycling, and now they have this brilliant idea, and it is a career path that they could love. I know for certain I've worked in quite a few different industries, and I've never enjoyed an industry as much as I enjoy my job at Springbridge.
Yeah,
that's good.
So are there any women in the industry that you find inspiring or that you particularly look up to?
I mean, you asked me to bring a guest on the podcast today.
Oh.
So you're looking at her. No, to be honest, obviously, like I said earlier, a lot of my client base is men. But, you know, since meeting with Katie last year, we had a good chat last year, didn't we?
We did.
And it's always stuck in my mind. But it goes the same for everyone else. When I meet people on a weekly basis, it's, you know, not just women, it's men as well. I'm learning from everyone, you know, so it's all positive.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that men and women bring lots to the industry, but I've been fortunate as part of a family business to grow up with females from my family in the company and learn from them too. But yeah, I think it's all about having that balance, bit of both in the workplace. Yeah, really helps.
Does everyone in your family work for Sheehan's? Do you have some rogues that said, I'm not getting involved?
Yeah, not everybody. It's not a prerequisite. You don't have to. But my mother, she's involved in the business, but she married into the business.
Okay.
And me, my sister, we're both involved in the business. But yeah, some of the boys are involved too.
Yeah. So is there anything in particular that really motivates you in your jobs?
Yeah, I would say myself, obviously, because it's taken me some time to get to this position and it's a new one. So obviously I want it to succeed. So yeah, myself. I want to prove myself, you know, right, that I can do this and at a high level. So yeah.
I think working for a family business comes with like a real natural motivation. You want it to succeed. You're really invested in it. And my grandfather started the business. It's lovely to see now 3 generations down that we're still going and still thriving. Bethan, what motivates you?
I think mine is definitely personal motivation. So I started in the sales team at Springbridge and progressed up, now the office manager. But Springbridge are putting me through a course to do a HR qualification and things like that. And I think for me, it's definitely personal motivation. It's where I want to be in my career. And I love the fact that Springbridge are helping me, providing the tools to get there. Woo, thank you. What's a good piece of advice that you've been given that's stuck with you?
I'd say it's a tricky question. I'd probably say something in relation to cold calling. I don't do an awful lot of it. But when I do it, even people like Lauren, our other account manager, will always say to me not to bother worrying about what people think of you or anything like that. Basically, once the phone call's done, just to move on to the next one, you know. Don't hold it with you. Don't let it affect your confidence. It doesn't get you anywhere, you know.
Yeah.
So,
about you, Katie?
I would say, like, if at first you don't succeed, like, keep trying. Like, you know, there's different angles, there's different people. You aren't always going to get to the right person. Like, you're not going to always be able to speak to maybe the MD of a business. Yeah. But, you know, to keep trying to build relationships. You never know sort of where they'll go. And it's always nice to be nice. Like, you know, building relationships with people, you don't know who they know and where that contact could lead.
Yeah, absolutely.
Who knows? They might end up on a podcast.
You just never know.
6 months down the line.
Oh.
What advice would you give for a young woman that's potentially struggling in the industry?
I would advise speak out, you know, talk about your problems. Most people are a father, a son, a brother, like they have women in their lives, and as a woman, you might have a problem, but men might well have that problem as well. Like, you know, we're all human beings. We can all relate with one another.
Yeah, absolutely. About you,
That's
Ellissa?
the reality, isn't it? I mean, everyone starts from the same position.
Yeah.
You know, no one's born with all this knowledge and all this experience. You know, we have to gradually get there. So, yeah, talk to your peers.
Yeah. Most people want to
colleagues.
share their knowledge. Most people enjoy that and they want to talk about what they know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, ladies, why is International Women's Day important to us?
I think it's important to celebrate anyone's achievements, but it is nice to see sort of a diverse, inclusive workplace that's celebrating everybody, so equality amongst men and women. I think also it encourages children, so sort of rounding back to education and the book that we wrote and how important it is for young girls to realise that they can, come into this industry as well.
Yeah. Definitely. Thank you both so much for joining us today. It's been a really inspiring chat. And to all our listeners, thank you for tuning in. And remember to subscribe so you can catch all our future episodes. We have some great ones lined up. Thank you.